Hi, friends. Good morning, or whatever time of day it is that you happen to be watching this. If you're new to my channel, I am on a 30-day vegan challenge, but I hope to take that beyond 30 days. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you what I ate in a day, 3 full vegan meals. I start my day off with some coffee, and yes, you are seeing right. I'm putting some coconut oil in my coffee. It just gives you an extra boost, and there's so many benefits to coconut oil. I'm adding a little soy milk. I find that's a good substitute for cream in my coffee, even though I don't mind drinking it black. But definitely try the coconut oil in your coffee. It not only tastes great, but like I said, it has so many health benefits. Yeah, it was early for me. Oh, that was good. So I'm starting off with breakfast. I made a tofu scramble with mushrooms, onions, and spinach. I started off by just chopping my onions. Now, I had never made a tofu scramble before, so part of this journey is just trying new things, and it's been so much fun. I definitely recommend trying this if you have not. But I just heated some oil, obviously, in a pan. I sliced my mushrooms, and it looks like there's a big pile of spinach next to me, but you know how spinach just shrinks down immensely when you cook it. So I just started by heating the onions, adding the mushrooms, giving it a little toss, and letting those cook down. After about 2 to 3 minutes, I added some salt and some black pepper. Bobby Flay, famous chef Bobby Flay, says to season at every step. So I gave that a little toss, and then I added some spinach and just tossed that in with the sauteed mushrooms and onions. So while that was cooking down a little bit more, I grabbed some extra firm tofu in water. I had never purchased tofu before. I sliced it open and squeezed some of the moisture out. I used about half of the package for this scramble here. I added some nutritional yeast, mainly because I was trying to get a little yellow color and cheesy flavor. I had never had nutritional yeast before today, and so I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know how much I was going to put in. I just sprinkled some until I thought it looked like enough, and then I added some turmeric also because I saw on someone else's video that they added some turmeric just to add that extra yellow color to make the tofu scramble look like eggs. I actually couldn't taste the amount that I put in, but I added a few more spinach leaves just because I had waited so long and my spinach had kind of cooked down. But this was the finished product. I added some tomatoes and 2 slices of toast with some Earth Balance vegan butter. And I'm telling you, when I bit into this, I did not know I was not eating eggs. It had the same texture, kind of the same flavor that I would make a scramble. It was delicious. For lunch, I decided to make my own veggie patty. Now, I recently went out to eat and had a black bean burger, but I wasn't quite sure what they put into it. So I decided to experiment and make my own. I chopped up some onion and some carrot and sauteed that in some olive oil. I chopped up some walnuts. I put a little black bean still in the juice inside of a bowl. I figured the juice of the beans would be a good binder for everything. I minced a little bit of garlic with the carrots and onions once it was close to the end of cooking, and just stirred it around a little bit. Then I just went back over the walnuts to make sure they were really finely chopped, smashed some of the beans. I had some cooked rice in the fridge, so I added that in. You know, I was just trying to think, what were elements I've seen inside of veggie burgers. The last thing I sprinkled in was some breadcrumbs, and then I started mashing everything together. I put a little bit of barbecue sauce just because the bean juice wasn't quite enough to bind everything together. So as you can see, I started forming the patties. It looks very similar to a meat burger, but it's all veggie. You saw everything I put in. I went ahead and heated some oil, placed my patty in the pan, and then started forming one more burger. This was an experiment that, if it had gone wrong, I wouldn't be posting it. So rest assured, it went very well, and I was really happy with how it came out. Kind of came apart a little bit right there, but I just patted it back in. And then once the first side cooked together, it was easy enough to flip it over and cook the other side. And again, everything that went into these patties was already fully cooked, but this just gave it a nice finished look and taste, warmed everything back through. Look how beautiful that looks. Almost like a real patty. I decided that I was going to make some Chipotle Mayo. So I took some Earth Balance vegan mayonnaise and some sriracha. And you can just put as much or as little sriracha as you want. You can always start with a little bit, mix it in, and then I'll add a little bit more if you decide you want some more heat, which is what I did. But I decided this would just give it a little extra kick. I slightly toasted 2 slices of sprouted grain bread. I got some avocado, tomatoes, some spinach. I just tore off the stems because I hate biting into raw spinach that has really sharp stems. I spread some of the Chipotle Mayo on each slice. I didn't want the sandwich to be dry, plus I thought it would be a good flavor. I added my patty, and then the spinach, and a tomato, and then I mashed a little of the avocado on the top. As you can imagine, this was so delicious. I'm cutting it in half just so I could show you, even though you've already kind of seen a little picture. But it cuts really well, and it was very satisfying. Tasted just like a veggie burger that I've had that was pre-made. I cut a little mango slices, and that was my lunch. For dinner, I decided to make an Indian-inspired curry. Now, it's similar to a dish that I've had when I've ordered takeout. I think it's called mushroom mutter curry. But I just started with some rough chopped onions. While those were sauteing in some olive oil, I took large mushrooms and cut them in quarters. I really do find that having a lot of the mushrooms gives a good duplication for chicken, if you will. Okay, for someone like me who's newly vegan and not used to not having meat, I did find this to be very satisfying. I used some vegetable broth, some tomato paste, some Indian curry seasoning. If you don't have that, you can just throw together some turmeric, coriander, some other spices to just make up that curry flavor. But once I had the mushrooms and onions sauteed down pretty well, I just created a little spot in the center so that I could add in my tomato paste and vegetable broth. Actually, I decided I was going to season the mushrooms and onions first because like I said earlier, season it every step. This just makes sure that some of that good seasoning grabs onto the mushrooms and the onions. Really have time to cook down into your dish. So once that was all incorporated, then I made another space in the center for my tomato paste. And you can use tomato sauce. I just wanted to use paste because I thought it might help make the curry a little bit thicker. Again, I'm not an Indian chef. This is Indian inspired because of the flavors. But you can see I just add in a little bit of the vegetable broth and then mix it in to kind of break that down. And once that's well incorporated, then you can add some more broth. I said I'm not an Indian chef. I'm not a chef at all, but I am having fun experimenting, and I hope you take some of my tips as well, and just don't be scared in the kitchen. You know, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong, but you can always make some adjustments, taste as you go. I added some frozen peas. You can add as much or as little as you want, but peas are a great source of protein as well. I sprinkled some salt and some red pepper. You can add in some black pepper or some more Indian curry seasoning at this point if you want. You know, it just depends on how spicy you want your curry to be. But I added a little bit of flour as well just to thicken everything. You just want to make sure you give your curry some time to cook down. You want the tomato and the flour to cook out, and then add in some coconut milk. This is what's going to give your curry that creamy element and just give it that color that you see when you order Indian food at a restaurant. You just stir it all around, and at this point you're going to be pretty much done. You just want the coconut oil to heat through. You don't want to bring your dish to a boil at this point, so you just want to make sure your heat is turned from maybe medium down to closer to a simmer. I went ahead and plated up my curry with some rice and a couple of slices of naan, and it was so delicious. It really was. Well, that's what I ate in a day. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you subscribe for more. Comment down below and let me know what you love to